The true cost of credit. That term in and of itself sounds really big, but we help our clients at Calibr break it down in a couple ways. Oftentimes we look at it in three numbers or three formulas. We'll have them look at their age receivables number, their net effective rate for credit card processing. And the third that's oftentimes the most important and the least done is, what is your credit actually costing you? Most companies don't know. They have an idea of what maybe their line of credit is at, what that is costing them. They may have an idea of their aged receivables. They're not really sure what that's costing them. And as well as other loans, they have no idea of the consolidated cost of their credit. And at Calibr, when we're engaging with clients, oftentimes we'll hear, well, I'd love to take more credit cards, but it's just too expensive. The margin isn't there for me to take it. Yet, those same companies are drawing down lines of credit, taking out other loans to fill the gap for invoices that they've not yet received payment for. So for us, it's looking at what is the cost of that loan? What is the how much of it are you having to access in a month? What is the net effective rate for that? And then how long is it taking your clients to pay? And would it make a difference if you had that cash in hand quicker? So if your client is paying on average around 60 days, which is a pretty common number, what would it mean to you if they were paying in 30 or 15 or 10? That could be life-changing to a business, even at, let's just say, a net effective rate of 3%. That could really shift things for the company. And when you compare that to a line of credit or other credit facilities, it's actually pretty reasonable from a net effective rate when you look at it on a rolling basis. At Calibr, we feel it's really important for people to understand the true cost of credit and the impact that that's having on their cash flow, as well as their customers' experience, because that can affect retention and long-term growth. When we work with clients, we'll actually take the time to look whole cloth at their accounts receivables process and at the cost of credit to help them make the right decisions for the next phase of their business and what's going to make them be the most healthy in the long term. Issues that we see clients often make with their invoicing processes and procedures and tools are a couple things. Number one, it may be that the only invoice that's accessible is a physical invoice. So that means the only invoice a customer will ever see is mailed to them. They may not really be able to get a emailed version or an online version of that invoice, and that can slow collection practices. If I have to wait for you to email me an invoice or mail me an invoice or scan an invoice and attach it to an email, to me that slows down the process and creates additional work for the internal team. So oftentimes what we encourage clients to do is to kind of close the gap there and look at ways that they may eliminate steps in that invoicing process. For a lot of older organizations, larger organizations, there's a lot of steps in that invoicing process. And a very simple question to ask are, what steps in our invoicing practices and processes are actually necessary for the client to get the invoice and for us internally to reconcile it? It most likely is less steps than you've gotten used to. And in that elimination, you're improving not only the experience for the client, but you're also helping your internal staff be more efficient at their day-to-day duties. Oftentimes, there are simple things they can do to encourage a company or a client to pay quicker. The biggest thing you can do is make it easy. A lot of companies, in order to pay that invoice, you've got to call a certain day, you've got to talk to a certain person, they have to process it, or you have to send a check or a wire transfer, and you have to confirm that with somebody. So there's a few steps there for a company. Now, for most companies, for many B2B companies, that's not going to be a problem. That is standard operating procedure. But for a lot of companies, in order to encourage somebody to pay quicker, there are a couple key pieces that you need to think about. Number one, is there a technology that you can implement that will make it easier for the customer to pay immediately? So that could be something like putting a payment link on the bottom of an invoice. It could be directing them to a website to enter the payment, be it ACH or credit card. Or it could be storing their credit card on file or their ACH on file, so that you can charge them when the invoice is published with their permission, with a confirmation. So there's a couple different things that you can do to improve the experience for the customer and internally. A lot of companies don't think about the fact that it's not just the customer whose experience is lacking. It's oftentimes your internal teams who are juggling 90 different things and reconciling or getting that payment on that invoice is one more thing added to their list. And if companies can implement tools that streamline that process on the front end and make it simple on the back end, it not only improves the customer experience, it'll make your team happier and improve their experience in their workday. So at Calibr, oftentimes we're doing that work to help companies lay out that phased approach of how to implement some of those simple, quick solutions that can really begin to make a difference in their AR. When looking at the true cost of aged receivables for your organization, it really is important to look whole cloth at the process and procedure, the technology, and of course, the cost, because each of those things impact the other. And that's part of the tenet for us at Calibr of how we work with clients. We take a whole cloth approach to looking at the AR so that we can make recommendations and establish strategies that draw down all of the costs, both soft costs, so the time spent doing it, and the hard costs, what actually comes out of your pocketbook at the end of the day, to process those payments, process those invoices and that AR.